Hi, I'm Anita Knight with Emotional Intelligence Pathways, and I'm pleased to be here with you today on behalf of Dr. Gary Sibsey, professor at Liberty University and licensed professional psychologist, and myself to present to you this presentation discussing a particular approach to psychotherapy, cbasp for short, and the Adult Attachment Interview, which is an assessment tool, and implications for using these strategies for addressing chronic persistent depression and attachment injuries throughout the process of psychotherapy. This is part one in a multi-part series that explores the theoretical framework. As we move to the next slide, we will talk more about this theoretical framework. Some children, when they're going through their developmental stages, experience a secure base and safe haven combined with consistent care. In other words, they find that their parent or primary caregiver serves as a secure base from which they're able to go out and explore the world and then return back to that secure base. And they also experience a safe haven. The safe haven is the idea of being able to go to a place of comfort during times of distress. So in other words, after having skinned a knee or gotten hurt, the child can return to the parent for comfort and soothing. When the secure base and safe haven are present and the primary caregiver or parent provides consistent care, a secure autonomous attachment style is likely to occur. And typically, if a secure autonomous attachment style develops, this is a predictor of many positive outcomes in the future of a child's life, such as academic success, GPA, future relationship satisfaction, well-being, among many constructs. However, sometimes that secure base, safe haven, and consistent care is not available. In these cases, other types of attachment styles may develop. These can be the dismissing style, the inconsistent or preoccupied style, or if children experience fearful behaviors from their primary caregiver, this can lead to a disorganized style. The dismissing and preoccupied styles are called insecure, but it's important as we think about that term insecure. This is a different use of the term than what we see in everyday language. This does not mean that the child lacks self-esteem or is insecure in that sense, but it refers to the relationship between the child and the primary caregiver. So insecure defines the characteristic of that relationship and is further defined by either being dismissing or preoccupied. But these are organized approaches to responding to the attachment caregiver. In other words, the dismissing child moves away from the attachment caregiver, and the preoccupied child gets entangled or struggles with more inconsistent responses. And when children experience trauma or fearful experiences, they may develop a disorganized attachment style. That means there's not an organized approach with respect to their behavior with their attachment figures. And this is the most detrimental of the outcomes with respect to attachment. The latter interaction patterns of these insecure and disorganized styles may be consistent with what McCullough refers to as psychological insults. McCullough, the developer of the cbasp approach, has written about in the literature this concept of psychological insults or low-grade trauma that can be associated with chronic persistent depression. When we think about the theoretical framework of attachment, and we think about the child who has a secure base and has that sense of felt security, they're able to go out and explore the world around them, and they have self-confidence, they feel comfortable exploring. And then when they experience a perceived threat, perhaps something that scares them or makes them feel uncomfortable, this triggers their attachment system. And in this time of distress, the child seeks proximity. They seek closeness and comfort from that primary caregiver. So they seek to return back to that safe haven, and the caregiver detects their signal and offers them comfort. And this is the adaptive developmental process. If the caregiver is available to be a comfort to them and provide a safe haven and to provide them with felt security, then ideally they can go and explore and then seek proximity or comfort when a perceived threat occurs. And this works quite well for about 55% of the population, who develops a secure autonomous attachment style. According to Hesse, who has done work with Mary Main and UC Berkeley, and they have done a lot of wonderful work on the adult attachment interview, which has the ability to predict. It's an assessment that can be used to predict with 70 and in some cases I've heard 85% accuracy the attachment style of the next generation of that person's child. And they have discussed how secure autonomous people with a secure autonomous attachment style tend to value attachment relationships and yet remain objective. Another 23% of the population tends to have a more dismissing attachment style with respect to these attachment relationships. In other words, they experience devaluing or a sense of being cut off from attachment relationships. This is according to Benoit in a 2004 National Institute of Health publication. That's where these numbers are coming from. Now, preoccupation with early attachment-related experiences is what characterizes the preoccupied attachment style. There's a sense of this preoccupation with early attachment-related experiences, and this may be preoccupation associated with fear or associated with anger. In addition to these three organized styles, these are organized, consistent approaches to attachment. In other words, they're cohesive. They tend to be consistent across time. The secure autonomous attachment style, the person tends to move towards their attachment figures. In the dismissing style, the person tends to move away. In the preoccupied style, the person tends to get a little entangled or preoccupied. Now, the disorganized attachment style is indicative of a lack of organization, not one organized strategy for responding to attachment caregivers, and has been associated with the most negative outcomes when it comes to the different possible classifications. So this is an overview, and it is very important to remember that the terms secure and insecure does not describe a person, but a relationship, specifically attachment relationship with a primary caregiver in this sense. Bowlby's earlier work, Bowlby, who's considered the father of attachment theory, discussed this idea of internal working models. And these internal working models are these abstract thoughts or internalizations of our experiences of attachment, develop in the form of several questions and answers. And so one of the questions is, what do I believe about my behavior? What do I believe about the behavior of others? And are others able to show love to me? And am I worthy of love? And depending on a person's experiences and state of mind, they may answer these questions in different directions. The person who has a secure autonomous attachment style, who has a free narrative, as it would be described on the adult attachment interview, may tend to answer these questions favorably in terms of believing that others are able to show them love and that they are indeed worthy of love. Whereas a person who has struggled with inconsistent caregiving or experiencing scary behaviors or has not made sense of their childhood experiences and developed a coherent narrative may struggle. In terms of the insecure attachment styles or disorganized and internal working models, this may set a person up or predispose them to depression. If a person has these internal working models, they may have this belief or sense that no one will support me, so why ask? I'm not worthy of love, so why try? And these thoughts and sentiments are associated with hopelessness, helplessness, and depression. They can get into the cycle of recreating these negative experiences. Or, as Dr. Sipsey would say, they struggle with a circular tendency to recreate negative experiences and have developed a self-image that is characterized by a sense of both helplessness and hopelessness in the face of seemingly inescapable adversity. If you're interested in finding out more about the psychological profile and psychological and relational characteristics, neurocognitive deficits, and other aspects of this phenomenon, please come back to download part 2 of this presentation. Thank you.